I don't even know where to begin with that. I mean, that was just utterly unreal. What a weekend in the Premier League that was. Incredible action all across the thing. Welcome back to another episode of Premier League Talk. I'm just going to start by reading through the results like usual. We'll start with Saturday. City beat Newcastle 2-0 to cut the gap to Arsenal to 2 points until Arsenal came from 2 goals behind to beat Bournemouth 3-2 thanks to a Reece Nelson won goal in the final minute of added time. Incredible turnaround from Arsenal. Mentality monsters we are now. But yeah, brilliant result for us. Villa beat Palace 1-0 in possibly the most irrelevant Premier League game this season. I mean, both sides are so mid-table, it's a joke. Brighton smashed West Ham 4-0. We'll come back to that one later. Chelsea finally got a result against Leeds. We'll also come back to that one later. Wolves beat Spurs 1-0 at Molineux thanks to an Adama Traore goal. Thoroughly deserved for Wolves. I thought Spurs were woeful. Great result for Wolves. Southampton, they picked up much needed 3 points with a 1-0 win over Leicester at St Mary's. Ward-Prowse missed a penalty. Alcaraz gets the goal for them. Needed points for Saints. They're really still in this relegation battle. They're not out of it just yet, so we'll see what happens with them. We move on to today, Sunday. Forest drew 2-2 with Everton. Again, a very dull game. Everton remain in the relegation zone. Forest remain mid-table, so it's not... If Everton had won, I think there'd be a bit more of a storyline to it, but they didn't, so 2-2. And Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0, and that is where we will start. We'll talk about Liverpool first of all. Who saw this coming? I mean, seriously, they've had such a dismal season by their standards. I mean... Yeah, you think they just got thumped 5-2 by Real Madrid at Anfield last week. They're up into 5th now. They're still in that top 4 battle, and to have a season like they have had, I think you have to say fair play to them, because I didn't think they'd... I mean, I didn't even think they'd win today. But to win 7-0, Núñez seems to be coming into it. Gakpo seems to be finding form. Salah, in one of his worst seasons, has still got 25 goals for Liverpool. It's just incredible. Their whole team was utterly superb today. Anfield was right behind them. And in my opinion, they're solid favourites to get 4th now. I think Newcastle, they're falling off a bit. Spurs, I think they're also falling off a bit. We'll wait to see what happens when Conte comes back. Obviously, he's been recovering from his operation in Italy. It's a tough one. I don't know. The top 4 race is very, very competitive. And you've got sides like Fulham and Brighton who can still come into it. Brentford maybe as well, they might creep in. They play tomorrow night, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm not sure, but fair play to Liverpool. I mean, they absolutely dominated that one. Man United, this time last week they just beaten Newcastle at Wembley in the Carabao Cup final 2-0, and everyone's going on about how, what a turnaround Ten Hag has done. And obviously he has. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from how well Manchester United have done this season. I mean, obviously they had such a shocking start, losing to Brighton at home on the opening day, then getting thumped at the Brentford Community Stadium 4-0 the next game week. Ten Hag handled the Ronaldo situation really well. And let's not forget they're 3rd in the table. They had the chance to go 6 points behind Manchester City today, to go 3 points behind Man City today with a game in hand. I mean, they had their opportunity, but they blew it today, and it did feel very much like the circus was back in town. Where to start? We'll start with the first goal. I thought the first 40 minutes, Manchester United actually played pretty well. I mean, it was a typical away performance we've seen at Anfield so far this season, where Liverpool will come at you flying out of the blocks. You've just got to ride the storm. And obviously Casemiro had a goal disallowed, and then Gakpo scored that goal, and from that point on, it just fell apart. I mean, it felt very reminiscent to last year, you know, when they lost 4-0 at Anfield. They got beaten 5-0 at Old Trafford. They just capitulated. Senior players such as Fernandes, I thought he was woeful today. I really did. And his attitude, like begging to come off at 6-0 down as the captain. Shocking, it really is. But overall, I just thought Manchester United were an absolute mess today. They really, it's going to be interesting to see how Ten Hag turns this around, because a defeat like that is honestly just embarrassing to lose to your biggest rivals 7-0. Obviously, Anfield is probably the hardest place to go in the league, just off the atmosphere, but 7-0, it's ridiculous. I don't know what they do from this point on. Yeah, I think Fernandes deserves some time out of the team because he was woeful today, but it wasn't just him. I thought Casemiro had a shocker of a game. Rashford went missing. He was probably their best player today. Dallo wasn't there. Shaw nearly lost his head. Varane and Martinez just were non-existent. But yeah, back to the drawing board, I think, for Ten Hag. And you just take it on the chin and move on because there's not much else you can do. Anyway, we'll move on. Brighton versus West Ham. Brighton 4, West Ham 0 at the Amex. This was possibly the most perfect way to sum up both of these sides' seasons. West Ham obviously struggling so badly in the relegation zone at the moment. They are in the relegation zone. And I think it is time for Moyes to move on, He just looks void of ideas. And as a West Ham fan, put it on West Ham Fan TV, they're 2-0 down, and they've just had a corner, and it's gone wide, headed wide. And he's taking off a defender for a defender. I think it was Aguerd for Bonner or someone, I'm not sure. But it just wasn't the sort of substitution you need to be making. It was just very, very confusing. It felt like they were almost throwing in the towel. So perfectly sums up West Ham's season, how well they struggled. And on the other hand, perfectly sums up Brighton's season as well. They're really in the hunt for Europe, even top 4 maybe, I'm not sure. Europa League, I think definitely they should be aiming for. McAllister, he got a penalty. Just great result for Brighton. Really is. De Zerbi has done wonders since Potter's left. He really has. Brilliant for Brighton. I can't really say much else. They deserve to be where they are, and we'll see how they finish the season. Finally, Chelsea 1, Leeds 0 at Stamford Bridge. I feel like Wesley Fofana single-handedly bought Graham Potter more time in his job at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, pretty dull game. I thought Chelsea were very lucky to hang on, to be honest. I thought Leeds should have scored. Javi Gracia will be a bit upset that Leeds didn't get something out of that game. I thought they played pretty well. They missed some sitters as well. I'm thinking to the Weston McKennie chance. I mean, how he didn't score that, I don't know. But they managed to hang on. And, it's much needed points for Chelsea. They're in 10th still. They were a few points off. Liverpool were in 9th, but they're not now. Obviously, they're in 5th. I'm not expecting anything from Chelsea towards the rest of the season, to be honest. They're not going to get Europe. I don't even think they'll finish above 8th. 8th Conference League, though. So, yeah, you know what? 9th. I'm going to say I'm not even sure. It was just lacklustre, and, fair play. They got their goal. But I don't see them pushing on from this, to be honest. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Graham Potter keeps his job, I guess. That's the positive. It's a result that perfectly typifies Chelsea's season. When they want them to lose because it would probably get Potter sacked, they win a game. I mean, it's mental. But what a weekend in the Prem. What a weekend. Just shows why we love this game, I guess. But yeah, this has been Premier League Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.